So after the introduction to the constitution, the thing that come to us that we must know after the introduction and the historical background is what are the sources of the Indian constitution. Now our constitution is the longest constitution and the written constitution. The reason because of this, the written constitution and longest constitution is that our constitutional maker, when they sat together for 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days, they did not just sat and thought in the context of India, but they took the sources from every corner of the world, starting from America. They went to USSR, they went to Canada, they went to Ireland, they went to Australia, they went to South Africa. So they wanted to give us such a constitution which has all the features which is present in the constitution of the world. So that our is one of the best constitution, and it is means we should be proud that Indian constitution is regarded as the best, one of the best constitution. And any country, any new country which makes a constitution, they take the all the thing from our constitution. So what are the sources of the Indian constitution when you take into consideration from the CLAT perspective or any of the law entrance examination, or for your as a law student or for your other judiciary or whatever examination it is directly they will ask in the polity section that, for example, the independence of judiciary has been borrowed from the constitution of which country. Similarly, they will be asking the fundamental duties had been borrowed from which country. Okay, so we will be discussing today the sources of the Indian constitution. I hope you are sitting with your note copy. Okay, now you don't need the DD Basu. After once we start with the preamble, then you will be needing the DD Basu PDF. So just make a note of all this. Now we are starting with the sources of Indian constitution. First is the USA, that is the United States of America. We from the USA, what all we have borrowed, that is very important. So the first and the foremost thing that we have borrowed from USA, guys, is the preamble. So what is preamble? What is written in the preamble, that we are going to discuss just after this. We will be discussing in detail the preamble of the Indian Constitution. Now the preamble is borrowed from the USA. Just as I am writing, just you also keep on writing with me. First is the preamble. It is borrowed from the USA. Second most important thing which is in our Indian Constitution after the preamble is the fundamental right. So guys, the constitutional maker thought that if the Indian citizen don't have this fundamental right, then it will be just like a dictator country like North Korea. So they bestowed upon us the fundamental right, the right to every citizen, and even some of the right to life, that is Article 21, that we will be discussing afterwards. So it is even available to non-citizens, means those who are not the citizen of India. So fundamental right we have borrowed from the United States of America. Then another very important feature of our Indian Constitution which we have borrowed from the USA is the judicial review. Yesterday we have discussed in detail about the judicial review. So the judicial review has been borrowed from the USA. After judicial review, the independence of the judiciary, okay, the independence of the judiciary has also been borrowed from the independence of the judiciary has also been borrowed from the USA. Okay. The fifth part is the electoral college. Now what is this electoral college? The electoral college is used in the appointment of the president of India, that we will discuss when we will be discussing Article 52. That time we will be discussing how the president of India is appointed, what are the criteria. So the electoral college which is used for the president of India is being taken from the USA. So preamble, fundamental right, judicial review, independence of judiciary, electoral college, and then you have the separation of power. The independence of judiciary and the separation of power. The separation of power has also been borrowed from the USA. And the last is the federal structure. India has a federal structure. What is the meaning of federal structure here, guys? That the power has not been bestowed only in the center. The power has been distributed between the center and the state government. Just the latest example you see regarding the farm laws. The center introduced the farm laws. Now the state are bringing their own amendment that agriculture to state के अंदर आता है ना भाई. So why is central taking this into consideration? Now recently what Maharashtra has done? Maharashtra has brought an amendment to the farm law that was brought by the center. So the constitutional maker thought that if we bestow every right to the center, अगर सब कुछ center में ही involve कर दिया जाएगा, then the center will be मतलब very powerful. They will be using it in the wrong way. To limit the center, they introduced the federal structure. Federal structure का मतलब, the federal structure means that the power has been distributed between the central government and the state government. There is a division of power, as we know that there are lists in which only the center can make the laws, in which only the state can make the laws. So that is the federal structure. So these are the thing. And the last thing that we have borrowed from the USA is the equal protection of law, that is article 14. I hope you must be knowing article 14 of the Indian Constitution, that is equal protection of law. If you don't know, that is not a good means concern. We will be discussing all the important article very soon. So the last thing that we have borrowed from USA is the equal protection under law, that is article 14. So this was all about USA. Then we come to the British. What we have borrowed from the British Constitution next is. So from the British, the most common and important thing that we have borrowed is the rule of law. N.V. Ramana has told, oh, India is a country that is rule of law, not rule by law. है We are not under any dictator. We are not law. The law is not used to coerce us. Okay. So we have the rule of law. So it is taken from the British Constitution. Second is the parliamentary form of government. Now what is parliamentary form of government? There are two form of government. Generally, actually there is three, but generally we consider two form of government. One is the parliamentary form of government and other is the presidential form of government. Now, parliamentary form of government is the one where we elect our representative to the parliament and the head of the state is an elected person. The head of the state is an elected person, that is the prime minister. है So, in the parliamentary form of government, by the direct election, we elect our representative. As we all know, I presume that you must be knowing this, that we don't elect our prime minister. In India, guys, always remember this is a very wrong concept in the mind of our citizen that we elect our prime minister. हमने मोदी जी को चुना है, ऐसा नहीं होता है. We never elect any prime minister. We elect our representative. You must be knowing your constituency. Okay, each one of us live in a constituency. So for that constituency, during the general election, we elect our representative. Now that particular party which get the majority in the Lok Sabha, they will among themselves appoint the prime minister. So it is not we who elect the prime minister. We elect our representative. Our representative elects the prime minister. That is the leader of the majority. Okay. So it is the parliamentary form of government. Presidential form of government is where the president is the head of the state, which is elected to be the head of the state. That is the presidential form of government. There is no representation by the citizen. So that is the president form of government. Now our constitutional maker decided to have India having a parliamentary form of government. The third thing that we borrowed from the British is the single citizenship. As we all know that Indian citizen cannot have two citizenship. We cannot have dual citizenship. Like we cannot have that we are living in India, so we are having the citizen of India, and we are working in America, so we will be having the citizenship of America. That we will be discussing in detail when we will be discussing the citizenship article, that is article 5 to 11. Article 5 to 11 of the Indian Constitution talk about citizenship. So we have single citizenship, not dual citizenship. The moment you take the citizenship of any other country, your citizenship of India will be terminated. So we have single citizenship. Then the speaker. Okay, speaker, you must be knowing the speaker nowadays, what is happening in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. You must be concerned that it is a very big concern. Today we saw the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Okay, the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, that is our Vice President of India, Venkaiah Naidu. He started to crying seeing the behavior of our MPs and MLAs. Okay, so that is the thing. So the speaker, the post of the speaker we have borrowed from the British. And the last is the writs. Now what is writs? So just we will have a general discussion, because we will be discussing writ in detail when it will become under article 32. Under article 32 of the Indian Constitution, whenever any of the fundamental right is violated, no need to write, just have an introduction of this. We will be discussing it in detail under article 32. Whenever any of your right is violated, you can move to the Supreme Court under Article 32 of the Indian Constitution. Now, under this article, the Supreme Court has been given the power to issue 5 kind of writ. 5 kind of writ can be issued, like the habeas corpus, mandamus, certiorari, quo warranto, and prohibition. These are the 5 kind of writs. No need to write now, guys. I will be discussing them in detail in under Article 32. Just I am giving you the introduction because क्योंकि ये टॉपिक मतलब ये टॉपिक आ गया अचानक से इसीलिए. So writ can be issued by the Supreme Court. 5 writs are there that we will be discussing. So under the British, from the British we have borrowed the rule of law, parliamentary form of government, single citizenship, speaker writs. These are the things that we have borrowed from the British. Now next we have the Canada. Now what are the things that we have borrowed from Canada? That is the next thing. So from the Canada we have borrowed the appointment of the state governor. Okay, we have the state governor in every state. Okay, what is the article of the governor, how the governor is appointed, what is the procedure, that we will be discussing in detail when the governor topic comes. So this is the state governor. And another thing that we have borrowed from the Canada, it is a very important thing, that is the advisory jurisdiction of Supreme Court. This is very important, guys. Under Article 141, no need to write, I am just giving an introduction. We will be discussing it under Article 141. Under Article 141, the President of India can seek advice from the Supreme Court in any judicial matter. And the President is not bound by it. Just keep in mind, President can seek the advice of the Supreme Court on any judicial matter, but the President is not bound to abide by that advisory, whatever the advisory has been given by the Supreme Court. So these two things we have borrowed from the Canada. Now next is the Ireland. From the Ireland, what we have borrowed, the very famous directive principle of state policy. And the most famous directive principle of state policy now in use is the guys Uniform Civil Code. It is not easy for any government, the central government, to introduce the Uniform Civil Code in a country like ours, where we are governed by different kind of personal law. So what is the thing for this? What is the solution for this? The government has to initially, first of all, we have to make amendment in every law, like the marriage, hereditary, succession, adoption, because we are governed, every Hindu, Muslim, Parsi, Christian, Sikh, all are governed by different personal law. So bringing Uniform Civil Code in a country like ours, it is very difficult. So directive principle of state policy we have borrowed from Ireland. Next is the nomination to the Rajya Sabha. That is 12 members are nominated to the Rajya Sabha who have an excellence in the field of literature, science, law, art, culture. So the nomination to the Rajya Sabha, the 12 members that is nominated to the Rajya Sabha, is taken from the Ireland Constitution. Next we have France. So France, what happened when the French Revolution occurred? I hope you must have, even if your history is not good, okay, but you must in class 9 and 10, whether you are in ICSE or CBSE board, you must have read the French Revolution. So during the French Revolution, the ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity was evolved. Now our constitutional maker has adopted the ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity from France. And the most important, that India will be a republic. Guys, what is the meaning of republic here? That the head of the state will be an elected person and not a hereditary one. ऐसा नहीं है कि राजीव गांधी का बेटा बनेगा प्राइम मिनिस्टर, फिर सोनिया गांधी का बेटा बनेगा प्राइम मिनिस्टर, फिर राहुल गांधी का बेटा बनेगा प्राइम मिनिस्टर. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है, मतलब हेरिडिटरीली नहीं बन सकता है. बन सकते हैं, बने भी है वो लोग, बट द थिंग इज दैट मतलब hereditary, they cannot pass it from hereditary, they cannot be done. So we have a republic where the head of the state is an elected person and not a hereditary person. So republic and the ideals of the liberty, equality, and fraternity has been borrowed from the France. Next we have the Australia. Just 2 more are there, 2 or 3 I guess. So Australia. So from the Australia we have borrowed the concurrent list. What is concurrent list? Concurrent list are the list in which both the center and the state government can make laws. है ना? Concurrent list is the list in which both the central government and the state government can make law. So that is your has been borrowed from Australia, and the one of the most important feature of our Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, that is joint sitting of both house of the parliament. ठीक है. Now there is no such thing joint sitting of both house of the two house of the parliament, है ना. So when there is a matter in which the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha does not agree, ठीक है, in that case the on the recommendation of the president, the speaker can, sorry, on the recommendation of the speaker, the president can call for a joint sitting of both houses of the parliament, and it is the speaker of the Lok Sabha who chair the joint sitting of the both houses of the parliament. Make it a point. The joint sitting of the parliament we have borrowed from Australia, and it is the joint sitting of the parliament is being called by the president of India, but it is chaired by the speaker of the Lok Sabha, not the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. That is the vice president of India, not the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, but it is the speaker of the Lok Sabha who preside over the meeting of the joint session of both houses of the parliament. So that we have taken from Australia. Then we have the USSR, है ना. USSR. From the USSR we have borrowed the fundamental duties. The Indian constitutional maker, the founding father, thought that just bestowing them with this number of rights, it will not be good. They should have certain duties. So fundamental right come with certain duties. So fundamental duties we have borrowed from the USSR, and the last is South Africa. So from the South Africa we have borrowed the amendment provision under Article 368. Just in 5 minutes we are going to discuss this amendment provision in view of the preamble and Keshwanand Bharati versus Union of India. Keshwanand Bharati, the legendary Keshwanand Bharati who died in the last year. So amendment provision, okay, the amendment provision has been borrowed from the South Africa, and the election of the Rajya Sabha. The election of the Rajya Sabha has been borrowed from the South Africa. So these two things are borrowed from the South Africa. So these were all the sources of the Indian Constitution that we need to discuss. Now I hope it is clear. If any point is left, if any point is missed, you can ask in the chat box. If it is clear, then you can write that yes, it is clear. Okay, so I hope it is clear to everyone. Yeah, second point of Canada. Yeah, any point if it's left for anyone, you can ask just now. Then we will move to. So Canada, we discussed the appointment of the state governor. Yeah, sure. Canada, we have the appointment of the state governor, and the another is the advisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Appointment of the state governor and the advisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, in which the president can seek the advice of the Supreme Court, and that advice is not binding on the president. Then you ask the Canada हो गया, Ireland and France. Yeah. So from the Ireland we have borrowed the directive principle of state policy. From the Ireland we have borrowed the directive principle of state policy. The nomination to the Rajya Sabha, that is 12 members that is being nominated to the Rajya Sabha who have excellence in the field of art, literature, science, culture, law. They are being nominated to the Rajya Sabha. You must have remembered the Ranjan Gogoi, Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice of India, Ranjan Gogoi. He was nominated to the Rajya Sabha. There was a lot of dispute that he was being given the gift of the Ayodhya judgment or the Aadhaar judgment, that he ruled in the favor of the government of the present government of India, that is the BJP government. So former Chief Justice of India, that is Ranjan Gogoi, was nominated to the Rajya Sabha. So from the Ireland we have borrowed the nomination to the Rajya Sabha. And then you ask the France. So the France we have borrowed the republic, that India is a republic, है ना. India is a republic where the head of the state is elected and not appointed, है ना. Sorry, not hereditarily. Okay, it is not that राजा का बेटा ही राजा बनेगा, है ना. Super 30 you must have heard this, that राजा का बेटा ही राजा बनेगा, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. So India is a republic country, and another is that the ideals of that is a liberty, equality and fraternity. This ideals of liberty, equality and fraternity is being introduce in your preamble, है ना, in your preamble. So okay, Australia, for the Australia we have borrowed the concurrent list. Okay, concurrent list is one in which both the central government and state government can make laws, and then we have the joint sitting of two houses of the parliament. The joint sitting in any matter on which the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha does not agree on that, the president can call for a joint sitting of both houses of the parliament, which will be presided over by the speaker of the Lok Sabha, है ना. The speaker of the Lok Sabha, the present speaker of the Lok Sabha is Sri Om Birla ji. He is an MP from Kota. So it is the speaker of the Lok Sabha who will be presiding over the joint sitting of both houses of the parliament. I hope this is clear. So France I have repeated, Canada I have repeated, Australia I have repeated. Yeah, Australia is the joint sitting of two houses of the parliament and the concurrent list. Okay, Ankit, Pinjla, Sindhuja and all. Yeah. Okay. Okay, sir. So it is clear. Then we move to the beauty of our Indian Constitution, that is the preamble. The beauty of our Indian Constitution, that is the preamble, है ना. So it has been written, just I am reading, you don't have to remember. Just as a law student, once you are in the law college, you should also always remember what is in our preamble. Even if I am giving the example of GNLU, when you enter the GNLU campus, on a big board it is written, the whole preamble of the Indian Constitution has been written. So the most beautiful part of our Indian Constitution is the preamble, which said, we the people of India, है ना. It starts with we the people of India. Now we the people of India, मतलब कि everything is the people of India only. We the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, liberty, equality, and to promote them among them all fraternity, in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. So this is the beautiful part of our Indian Constitution, that is the preamble. Now let's start with the preamble. You must, I mean, this is not compulsory to memorize, but as a law student, you should always remember what is written in our preamble. So preamble, it is the introductory document or the statement which provide the guiding principle of the Constitution. If anybody asks you what is preamble, what you will say, the preamble is an introductory statement which provide the guiding principle to the Constitution. It is on the basis of the preamble that all our fundamental right, fundamental duty, directive principle, state policy, all this are made. So preamble is the introductory statement which provides the guiding principle to the Constitution. Now there is a lot of controversy regarding the preamble. The first case regarding the preamble that we should be knowing is the Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan. Okay, Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan. I am writing, you also write. Now see, another thing is that those who are preparing for CLAT 2022 or 2023, they must be thinking that what will be the benefit of this all cases now. Although in the MSCT or in the BHU, means in the OLET, the other law entrance exam, they will be asking the case name, what are the important case. They don't generally ask in CLAT. But this is a constitutional lecture series, so we will be taking into consideration all these points. Okay. So the preamble has a very long controversy. The first case that concerned with the preamble is the Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan. Okay. Sajjan Singh versus this is the way to write a case name. Always remember. ये सब चीज कोई आप लोगों को सिखाएगा नहीं अब, है ना. This is the way to write the name of the case. Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan. This is an 1955 Supreme Court judgment. Okay, this is a 1955 Supreme Court judgment. You don't have to remember the year of the judgment. Just for the sake of the series, I am telling you. So in the Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan, the Supreme Court held in this case that the preamble is just an introduction to our Constitution. Mark my word and keep it writing. In Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan, the Supreme Court told that The preamble is an introduction to the constitution, nothing more. Just an introduction to the constitution and nothing more. After again the preamble came into controversy in the case of Golaknath case. Okay, I am telling you the case name. The name of the case is Golaknath versus State of Punjab. है ना? Golaknath versus State of Punjab. I am repeating it every time. This is not only in view of your CLAT perspective. This is something which will be helping you throughout your life. Okay. And once you will be in law school, whenever you will be having this constitution as a subject, then you will be understanding the value of all these things. So in Golaknath versus State of Punjab, this is the way of writing the name of a case. है ना? Golaknath versus State of Punjab, that is a 1967 Supreme Court judgment. It was held in this case that the preamble just give an introduction, it guide, it is a thing where the opinion of the makers of the constitution is reflected. If you want to write what was the judgment in Golaknath, the judgment in Golaknath case was that it is a place, the preamble is something which reflects the mind of our maker of the Indian constitution, nothing more. Okay, I would have directly gone to the Keshwanand Bharti case. That would not, it would be had been very easy for me, है ना? It would have taken less time, and I do not have to speak much, but that would have no help. Okay, in Golaknath case, the Supreme Court held that the preamble, it shows that it reflects the mind of our maker of the Indian constitution. Again, the controversy came in the case of Ray Berryberry case. That is the 1960 case, the Ray Berryberry case. This is a very important case when you will be in any of the law school. That time, while you will be taught the constitution, at least 1 to 2 class will be given for this case alone. So Ray Berryberry case, in the Ray Berryberry case, it was held by the Supreme Court that the preamble is not a part of the Indian constitution and it cannot be amended. Now I will not be discussing the case in detail. Okay, just what the Supreme Court held, that the preamble is not a part of the Indian constitution and hence it cannot be amended. मतलब कि preamble cannot be amended only. ठीक है? This was held in the Ray Berryberry case. Now the landmark judgment, the legendary landmark judgment of the Indian constitution, whenever we talk about the landmark judgment, this case always come to our mind. That is the Keshwanand Bharti versus Union of India. है ना? Not Keshwanand, state of Keshwanand Bharti versus State of Kerala, not Union of India. Keshwanand Bharti versus State of Kerala. A very landmark judgment of the Supreme Court, that is Keshwanand Bharti versus State of Kerala. What was the judgment in Keshwanand Bharti? The Keshwanand Bharti told that the preamble is a part of the Indian constitution and it can be amended except the basic structure. So that the question that comes in CLAT, in MSCT, in BHU and in judiciary, that in which of the following cases the doctrine of basic structure was evolved. So it was the Keshwanand Bharti versus State of Kerala. It was in this case that the doctrine of basic structure was evolved, in which the Supreme Court held that the preamble is a part of Indian constitution. It can be amended except the basic structure. Now, what is basic structure? It will be decided by the case on the basis of circumstances. Whenever any matter come to the Supreme Court, at that time it will be the court who will decide that whether it is a basic structure of the Indian constitution or not. So these are the 4 cases which relate to the controversy of the preamble. Okay, so preamble is the introductory statement which provide the guiding principle of the constitution. We discussed the 4 cases, है ना? That is the Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan, Golaknath versus State of Punjab, Ray Berryberry case, and the Keshwanand Bharti versus State of Kerala case, in which it is the basic structure doctrine was evolved. Now we will be discussing the preamble in detail. The preamble states, "We the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic country." है ना? तो अब यहाँ पे क्या याद रखना है, ऑल्दो वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग द इम्पोर्टेंट अमेंडमेंट टू द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन आफ्टर वंस वी आर कंप्लीटेड विद द इम्पोर्टेंट आर्टिकल, but just for the sake, so the sovereign, democratic and republic were initially in the preamble. These three were initially in the preamble, but the socialist and secular, the socialist and secular were introduced by the 42nd amendment. We will be discussing the 42nd amendment in our amendment classes. When we will be discussing the amendment, that time we will be discussing, but because it is the introduction to the preamble, we have to know this. Sovereign, democratic and republic were initially formed in our Indian constitution, but the socialist and secular, it was added by the 42nd amendment. By the 42nd amendment, the term socialist and secular was added to our Indian to the preamble. Now we will be discussing what are they in detail. So the first is the sovereign. What is the meaning of sovereign here? Just write in keywords. Okay. सोवरेन का मतलब होता है, सोवरेन मीन्स दैट द गवर्नमेंट इज फ्री फ्रॉम एनी एक्सटर्नल फॉरेन पावर, मीन्स it is we who will decide what we have to do and not. Remember, America, Donald Trump has stated that I will be mediating between Jammu Kashmir for the Jammu Kashmir issue between India and Pakistan. Indian foreign ministry told that this is a matter directly concerned between India and Pakistan and it is not you who have to interrupt. They told in a clear word. Similarly, there are many various instances where it has been stated by the government of India that it is we who will be deciding what is for our benefit. Take the example of abrogation of Article 370. You must have remember how the European country, how there was the issue of the human right violation was being stated by every country. है ना? Even in the United Nations Security Council, the matter was raised, the abrogation of Article 370. But India told that this is our internal matter, no other country should interrupt in this. So this is the example of sovereign. I hope now it is clear. I have given you the best example, that is 370. है ना, abrogation of 370. That time you must have remember how various country have questioned us, है ना, they have pointed toward us. But India foreign diplomacy has told that this is our internal matter, you are no one to interrupt. So that is the meaning of sovereign, that the government is free from the control of any foreign power. Next we have the socialist. Socialist means that there should be a social and economic equality in the country. Social equality means there should be no discrimination in the country and there should be an economic equality. Okay, for regarding the socialist, I remember that in 2019 the Rajya Sabha MP, I guess the name was Rakesh Sinha, okay, he brought a private member bill, है ना, he brought a private member bill to remove the socialist board. Even an petition was filed in the Supreme Court recently, means in the last 1 year, that the word socialist should be removed from the Indian preamble. But the Supreme Court said that it is not we who will decide, but it is the government. So you ask the government, if the government wish, then they can do so. है ना? So socialist means social and economic equality in the country. Now come the most dangerous word, है ना? The most dangerous word of our preamble, that is the secular. The state will have no religion of its own. Okay, India will not be a Hindu state, India will not be a Muslim state, India will not be a Christian state, India will not be a Parsi state. The state will have its no religion. पर हम लोग क्या करेंगे? We will be keeping the temple in under our control, है ना? We are a secular country, but we will be keeping the temple under our control. We will be keeping the mosques under our control. So how we are secular? Let the government decide. But as a preamble, so the secular means that the state will not have its own religion. Then we have the democratic, है ना? India is a democratic country, means that democratic means by the people for the people, है ना? You must remember that quote, by the people for the people, है ना? That is the Abraham Lincoln quote. So democratic means a government which is by the people and for the people. And republic, as we have discussed just 5 minutes 10 minutes before, that the head of the state is elected and not like any other country where the head of the state is a hereditary, like the queen. Okay, like the queen, you take दैट राजा का बेटा ही राजा बनेगा, है ना। तो रिपब्लिक मीन्स द हेड ऑफ द स्टेट इज इलेक्टेड। तो हियर वी हैव राजा का बेटा राजा नहीं बनेगा, जिसमें क्षमता होगा, है ना, हु हैज द कैपेबिलिटी, ही विल बी द हेड ऑफ द स्टेट। So the preamble talks about the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign का मतलब the government is free from the control of any external foreign power. Socialist, social and economic equality. Secular is the state will have its no religion of its own. Democratic, that is by the people for the people. And republic, that is the head of the state is an elected person. I hope this was all the thing that we have to know in the preamble. I hope it is clear. Okay. Yeah. So we are done with the sources of the Indian Constitution and we are done with the preamble. Now it's 8:42 only. We have still time. Just let me see. Okay. Okay, we can start with the part 1 of the Indian Constitution. No issue, because we have to complete the constitutional lecture series. There are many more things waiting for you all. So just let's start with the part 1 of the Indian Constitution. Now just take a page break. Okay, till wherever you were writing in your notebook. Okay, wherever you were writing in your notebook, just take a page break, है ना, just take a page break. And now we'll starting with the part 1 of the Indian Constitution, that is Union and its territory. Take a page break, okay, and then start writing once again, because we have time. We will start. The part 1 of the Indian Constitution talks about Union and its territory. Now we are starting with the article. Okay guys, you have to remember, you have to remember, you have to remember. 3 times I have told. You have to remember the article. Without article, you cannot be called a law student, you cannot be called a law aspirant, you cannot be called a lawyer, you cannot be called a judge, you cannot be called a corporate legal advisor. You challenge, you file any petition in any of the Supreme Court, High Court, District Court, Sessional Court. The first thing that comes to the mind of the lawyer is that whether it violate any of the provision of the Indian Constitution. Sedition is being challenged. What they are taking into view? Article 19 clause 1A. Okay, we are not getting enough of oxygen and medicine. Article 21, right to life is being violated. Reservation is being given to the socially and educationally backward class under Article 15. If any law has to be challenged regarding reservation, that particular lawyer will take into consideration Article 15, and that particular judge will take into consideration Article 15. So make it a point, you have to remember all the important article of the Indian Constitution. Part 1, that is Union and its territory. Article 1. Very interesting guys. See, I am telling you, Constitution is my favorite till now. Once criminal subject will come in my law school, it might happen that it might change, but as of now Constitution is my favorite part. So Article 1, what is Article? I hope you are sitting with your DD Basu. Okay, अब DD Basu 593 पेजेस का है, तो भैया हमने तो डाउनलोड ही नहीं किया है. Don't do all this thing. Just make sure you are sitting with your DD Basu, otherwise you will keep on writing, nothing will go into your mind. Article 1 states that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. Guys, I hope you are sitting with your DD Basu. Just see your DD Basu. Article 1 states that Chapter 6, Territory of the Union. DD Basu, Chapter 6, Territory of the Union state that Article 1 states that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. अब यहाँ पे आया कि इंडिया क्यों बोला गया, भारत क्यों बोला गया. हम लोग तो इंडिया बोलते हैं, भारत नहीं बोलते हैं, है ना. तो इंडिया is taken into consideration keeping in mind the international issue, or Bharat is taken into consideration taking our internal issue. That the constitution makers they told that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of state. Okay, this is Article 1. उसके बाद उसमें Article 1 clause 1 is talking about India, that is your India, that is Bharat shall be union of state. Then the Article 1 clause 2 tell that the state and the territory shall be specified in the first schedule. You must be sitting with your DD Basu. Check in the DD Basu, it is written that the state and the territory thereof shall be specified in the first schedule, है ना? So this is article 1. Just only this you have to remember, है ना? That India, that is Bharat, shall be Union of India. Okay. Now the second article of the Indian Constitution is, check DD Basu. Where it is? Page number 75. Okay, page number 75 in DD Basu. Article 2 of the Indian Constitution state, it talks about the admission or establishment of the new state. मतलब क्या कि parliament has the power to admit into its union a new state or establish a new state. Okay, we can make a new state. Just take the example of Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand. Take the example of Bihar and Jharkhand. In 2000 क्या हुआ? 2000 में 2000, yeah, in 2000, हाँ, on 15th of November 2000 a new state called Jharkhand was established from Bihar. Similarly, take the example of your Telangana, है ना? Telangana was formed. Then you have the Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand. So these are the states. So under Article 2 state that the Parliament has the power to admit into the Union a new state or establish a new state. Okay, that is your Article 2. Then you have the Article 3, which talks about the formation of the new state and the alteration of the boundaries and the areas of the state. Page number 75 of the DD Basu, check. It is written, see, Article 3 of the Indian Constitution, Parliament may by law form a new state, increase the area of any state, diminish the area of any state, alter the boundary of any state, alter the name of any state. Okay, the area of any state can be increased, the area of any state can be decreased, the boundary of any state can be altered, and the name of any state can be changed. That is Article 3. Just you have to remember Article 3, Article 2, 3 are not that much important. You just have to remember what is just, but you should be knowing that actually होता क्या है Article 3, Article 2 होता क्या है. Now whenever the parliament, ना यहाँ समझिए, ये सब आपका DD Basu में नहीं दिया हुआ है आर्टिकल. तो आप कोई सा भी यूट्यूब चैनल खोलिएगा, लिस्ट ऑफ आर्टिकल, इंपॉर्टेंट आर्टिकल ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, वहां से देख के लिख लीजिएगा, है ना. व्हाट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड इज सी. Now when we are talking about Article 3, that is the Parliament may do all this thing, that is increase the area of the state, decrease the area of the state, alter the name of the state. For that, what the Parliament have to do, a bill has to be introduced in the either house of the Parliament on the recommendation of the President. Okay, to change the name of the state, to make a new state, a bill for such purpose has to be introduced on the recommendation of the Parliament, and if that particular bill is related to the area of the any state or the name of the any state, then that has to be introduced in the state legislature of that particular state also. What I told, firstly it must be introduced in either house of the Parliament only on the recommendation of the President. Guys, you must be thinking now that ये सब कोई फायदा नहीं है, ये सब याद नहीं आएगा. Polity का question, go and check the polity question. They are asking in this manner that under Article 3 of the Indian Constitution, a bill to change the name of any of the house state can be introduced only on the recommendation of which of the following: President, Governor, Chief Justice of India, Prime Minister. Correct answer is President. You take judiciary, you take UPSC, BPSC, JPSC, CLAT, OLET, whatever you take. So first is that it must be introduced in either house of the Parliament on the recommendation of the President. Second, when that particular bill is related to any state for the boundary, for the area, or for the name of that particular state, in that case it has to be introduced in the state legislative assembly of the state. It is compulsory. Okay, the bill must be referred to the legislature of the concerned state to express their view, and a time is being given to the particular state legislative assembly that you have to send back your view, है ना. You have to express your view within this time only. Okay, the state has to send their views on that particular bill within this time. So this point 2 point Article 3, everywhere it is written what is Article 3. You have to remember that it must be introduced in either house of the parliament only on the recommendation of the president, and if the bill is related to the state name boundary area, in that case that particular bill has to be sent to the legislative assembly of the state. They have to express their view, and there will be a time bound within which they have to send back their expression. So this is related to your union and territory, that is part 1 of the Indian constitution. Okay, that is your article 1, article 2 and article 3. Next we have, after article 1, article 2 and article 3, we have the article 4 is not that important. Okay, article 4 is not that important. We will be discussing only the important article which are important, keeping in mind CLAT, OLET, judiciary, UPSC, that are in view. So after the part 1, we have the part 2 of the Indian constitution which talks about citizenship. Just now we have discussed half an hour before that India talks only about single citizenship. We cannot have dual citizenship. So citizenship has been given in from article 5 to article 11 of the Indian constitution. Article 5 to article 11 of the Indian constitution talks about citizenship. You have to remember this point first of all. Part 2 of the Indian constitution talks about citizenship, and article 5 to 11 talks about the citizenship. Now check your DD Basu. Check your DD Basu. You will be getting that in the DD Basu. See the provision. The first provision is, that is article 5. It talks about the citizenship at the commencement of the constitution. है ना? That is article 5 talks about the citizenship at the commencement of the constitution. That is, at the commencement of the constitution, every person who has his domicile in the territory of India, who was born in the territory of India, either of whose parents was born in the territory of India, or who has been ordinarily resident in the territory of India for not less than 5 years, shall be a citizen of India. It is given in the DD Basu. Check. Okay. So I am telling you a case related to this. There was a case of there was a case of Mohammad Reza Dastani versus State of Bombay, which related to Article 5. There is a case of Mohammad Reza Dastani versus State of Bombay. इस केस में क्या हुआ कि देयर वाज अ सिटीजन. यू जस्ट हैव टू नो द फैक्ट्स ऑफ द केस. यू डोंट हैव टू नो, you don't have to write anything here. I am explaining the case so that it is you are able to understand what is actually Article 5. What happened in this case, that there was an appellant. Means the appellant is one who appeal, है ना? I presume that you must be knowing who is an appellant. So the appellant has come to India in 1938 with his maternal uncle. Okay, 1938 he came to India, और उसके बाद he went to Iraq on a pilgrimage. He went to Iraq on a pilgrimage, and there he stayed there for a very long duration. Then he again returned back to India. Then he again went to Iraq. Then he again returned back to India. In this manner he was doing. Okay, now he has come from Iraq in 1938. There was neither of his parents were born in the territory of India. Neither he was born in the territory of India. So Article 5, which talks about the domicile of the territory of India, that condition was not fulfilled. In the Mohammad Reza Dastani versus State of Bombay, this is a 1966 judgment of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court held that there is no intention showing that you would be willing to be domicile of India. Neither of the provision that you should be born in the territory of India, or either of your parents should be born in India, is not fulfilled. Therefore, the authority cannot give you the citizenship of India. So I gave you the case because so that you are able to understand. This was held in Article 5, that the person should be born in India or either of his parents should be born in India. That is Article 5. Now Article 6 talks about the right of the citizen who have migrated from Pakistan. Okay. In your DD Basu, you just check page number 80. It is there. A person who has migrated from Pakistan, okay, he will be given the citizenship of India if he or either of his parent or any of his grandparent was born in India, in that case he will be registered to be a citizen of India. So what you have to remember, that Article 6 talks about the citizenship right to the person who have migrated to India from Pakistan, who have migrated to India from Pakistan, that is Article 6. In a similar manner, we have Article 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 related to citizenship. That is not much of your importance. Okay, just you have to, one more thing you have to remember is Article 11 is important in view of the Citizenship Amendment Bill. Just in the next page, in the DD Basu, you will be having the heading Acquisition of Citizenship after 1950. So according to the Citizenship Act 1955, this is not given in, means this is not an article, this you have to know, this is very important question. According to the Citizenship Act 1955, in India citizenship can be taken by birth. Note it down, there are 5 ways by which citizenship can be taken in India. First is the birth, second is citizenship by descent, 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 registration, naturalization by incorporation of the territory, by incorporation into the territory of India, by birth, by descent, by registration, by naturalization, or by incorporation of the territory. These are the 5 ways by which citizenship can be acquired in India. So Article 11, the remaining article in the middle is not so much important in view of any examination. Article 11, Article 11 is the one which gives the right to the Parliament to make any law regarding the citizenship. Why I have told this law? In view of the Citizenship Amendment Bill 2019. Okay, you must remember the Shaheen Bagh. So Article 11 of the Indian Constitution, it gives the power to the Parliament to make any provision with respect to the acquisition or the termination of citizenship or any matter related to citizenship. So regarding the part 2 of the Indian Constitution, that is citizenship, you must be knowing Article 5, Article 6 and Article 11. Article 5 is the who is a citizen of India, domicile citizen of India. Article 6 talks about one who has migrated from Pakistan, and Article 11 talk about the Parliament to regulate the right of the citizenship by law, that the Parliament has the power to make laws related to citizenship. And we discussed that how can citizenship be acquired, that is by birth, descent, naturalization, registration and by incorporation into territory. These were all the important article as of now, means related to the citizenship and union and its territory. From tomorrow we will be starting with the fundamental right. Okay, this were the part 1 and part 2 was related to your part 1 and part 2 was related to your citizenship and state and union territory. From tomorrow we will be starting with the fundamental right.